and the masters of the universe. I am Adam, Prince of Eternia and defender of the secrets of Castle Grayskull. This is Cringer, my fearless friend. Fabulous secret powers were revealed to me the day I held aloft my magic sword and said, "By the power of Grayskull!" Cringer became the mighty Battle Cat, and I became He-Man, the most powerful man in the universe. Only 3 others share this secret. Our friends, the Sorceress, Man-at-Arms, and Orko. Together, we defend Castle Grayskull from the evil forces of Skeletor.
By the power of Grayskull!
For the honor of Grayskull! Shiva, Shiva. Shiva. Shiva, Shiva. I am Shiva!
Looks like double trouble.
Let's move, Cat.
At the far end of the universe, there is a planet ruled by a being of utter evil. And there is only one man who dares challenge him. They are locked in a battle to the death. A battle that will take them across the heavens.
Stop him!
A battle that will finally be fought.
I want them hunted down and brought to me!
Across the face
Police! Nobody move!
of Earth.
I think I'm gonna need some backup.
Can you show us the way?
Of course.
No.
Somebody help me!
From a distant galaxy, they have come to Earth. Dolph Lundgren as He-Man, Frank Langella as Skeletor. Only they have the powers to be masters of the universe. Live the adventure.
My name is Adam of Grayskull. When good is threatened by the power of Eternia, I was summoned to the future by the last of mankind to defend them in their hour of need. But my old enemy, Skeletor, followed me. Now, here in the future, he has found new allies to help him in his never-ending fight against all that is good. Yet on Primus, I too have found new brave friends and a new family. Thus, with the power of the good and the way of the magic, we struggle against the forces of darkness. Good against evil. The battle continues.
Hello, welcome to Geeks Unleashed. This is episode 231. This is a Master of the Universe 2026 special. As you can tell, we've obviously lined up a lot of the history here, and I've brought out an amazing panel. But I want to start with a guy who I've been desperate to get back on for this episode, Adam from Go Figure, and from near Toronto.
Near Toronto.
Near Toronto. I know you told me it's just a little bit above.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, you know, if you're in Ontario, you can say exactly where you're from. But if you're outside of Ontario, you just say Toronto, and that's close enough. You know what I mean? Like nobody knows.
As I've never been to Canada, I just go with what you tell me. So
yeah.
And then also guesting tonight as well, which I also have been really keen to get back on because I wanted Adam and Shawn Pryor to do an episode together. So I'm pleased to be back, man.
Oh, hey, glad to be here. Glad to be here, man. Like I'm excited to talk about some good old Motu and all of its many versions and forms. So yeah, this is a good time. It's gonna be a good time.
And returning as well, regular member of Geeks Unleashed, Devaughn.
Hello, thank you for having me back.
No worries, man. Oh, we got a comment already, actually. I grew up in 1984. I was born October 11th of that year. He was my favorite cartoon, Master of the Universe. 97 movie was a great time for me. That's why I've been telling Devaughn he's missed out.
Yeah.
Guys, what do you think of that intro? Actually, like that like got me excited.
It's tough not to get excited. Just like seeing those visuals, hearing those sound cues, and just, you know, it takes you back to a time when that's when, like, you would sit there and wait for the show to start. But then once the show started, you were just waiting for him to lift the sword, right? You're just like, do the thing. And it was just such a critical moment in your childhood where that was where we were excited. That was the moment that everything.
He-Man and Thundercats, in some ways, it was the same thing. Both the sword. You were waiting the whole of Thundercats for the sword to be lifted. The same with He-Man. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, He-Man was a family thing. Like in our household, like because when I went to elementary school. After school, I would just go down to my grandma's house, which is like right down the street from the school. And so, you know, so I had like aunts and uncles, and like cousins that, you know, were there during the day. And, you know, it'd be cartoon time. We all watched cartoons together from like 3:30 till about like 7 p.m. And so one of the cartoons we would always watch was He-Man. And you know, and like that, the theme song is just so catchy. Like the actual score for the Filmation cartoon could possibly be one of the best cartoon scores, and like as far as like, you know, your you know, animated series type stuff. But the score is fantastic. You know, you don't really expect that from Filmation because you know, Filmation does a lot of stuff on the cheap. That's how they were. They were the only actual animation studio like in America, you know, outside of the Disney stuff. They were the only American studio. So I understand why they had to do all those like tricks and recycle footage and assets again and again and again and again. And like it became a game with like me and my uncles. We try to see, okay, well, nope, they reversed that shot because He-Man got off of Battle Cat a different way. I was like, okay, they just flipped the shot around. Oh, okay, great. Right. So we would do stuff like that. So like there's a lot of good memories with He-Man, even with the '87 movie. You know, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, before we go any further, I asked Adam to. Oh, actually, sorry. 5 years ago, this I hate to say that this was 5 years ago, but 5 years ago when I turned 40, we did a special episode on Geeks Unleashed, and we covered the 1987 movie, which Adam was on. Can you believe it's been almost 5 years? I turned 45.
Crazy.
I turn 45 soon. So. And I asked Adam to come on, and I'm going to ask Adam to kind of do what he did before, just give us a little history lesson on the toy line and Master of the Universe.
Yeah, so if it's one of those things that if you weren't there for it, it's hard to explain exactly how much it permeated society, right? Especially if you were a kid, like it was everywhere. But again, it's a prototype and it's an exception. So it kind of built the world or the design for how cartoons and toys were brought out. So up until that point, you weren't allowed to have toys for cartoons that were on TV because there was the TV regulation rules were that you couldn't have a half an hour commercial for kids. Like you weren't allowed to do that. And Reagan came in, he deregulated that. And so all of a sudden there was no rules. You could just do whatever you wanted. And so when Mattel was trying to compete with Star Wars, they had tried a number of things. They did a Flash Gordon, they tried Clash of the Titans, they tried a number of things to kind of hone in on the Star Wars market, which was just dominating from 78 all the way to 84, 85. It just dominated the toy aisle. And so they wanted to do something that would compete. And so Masters was their big swing. And it was figures that were giant compared to Star Wars figures. It was something a whole different genre, but it combined, fantasy and space. They kind of did a little bit of everything. And so when those figures came out, and again, it was the idea, like we want to do a toy line based on the art of Frank Frazetta. Like that was, I remember as a kid, you probably remember as well, just looking at the Conan novels, the covers, and just being like, what is this story, right? Like this looks so, I just want more of this. And then when we saw toys that had that kind of art on the boxes, we were like, I don't know what this is, but I know I want it. Like I need to have this in my life. And then when they did the show, which came the year after their initial release, just gangbusters, because it did all the things that, it's funny, you look back as adults, and there's two kinds of collectors or nostalgia guys that look back with like reverence for what we had as a kid. And then there's the cynics look back and you say, well, Orko was stupid and how could they not tell it was Prince Adam and He-Man? It's like, shut up. We didn't know. It was just, that's because the story told us we didn't know. So we didn't know. And we just believed it. And so that cartoon was just everywhere. And so just, you go to school and you go to recess and you find the best stick you could, because that was going to be your sword for recess. And everybody was running around just getting the power. And the toys were you couldn't go in the 80s to any young boy's house and not find at least a handful of Motu figures. They were rugged, they were everywhere. And for me, I remember my first one being a Battle Armor He-Man I got, and just that was it. It was game over. Like just all full speed ahead. And there's different lore. So some guys say that their lore was the mini comics, some say it was the cartoon show, some say it was the actual comics. For me, it was like the box art, right? Just like looking at these pictures in the box and just learning stories from there. So it really taught us how to do creative play, because in some ways we saw stories, in some ways we gave seeds of stories. But the figures ran huge. They were unstoppable, a juggernaut from 82 to 87. And then in 87, that's kind of that's about a 5-year cycle. So what was happening was the kids that were prime age when they got into He-Man were kind of aging out, but a bunch of new kids were coming in and finding it for the first time. But they couldn't find a He-Man or Skeletor figure because those had already gone through. So distributors, stores said, we need more He-Man figures. That's what we need. And what Mattel heard was, we need more Masters of the Universe figures. So they sent out boxes of Buzz-Offs and Robotos and, Clawfuls. And so there was just no He-Man or Skeletor for kids to have. And that just tanked the line, so it couldn't recover. But often you hear about, it was, if you ever watch Scott Nylick, he was the brand manager for Motu Classics. And his narrative is that, Motu was great and then it had an epic failure. I don't think Motu had a failure. I think Mattel had a failure in handling it. But we've never stopped loving this stuff, right? We're here right now because, well, three of us, because we've never stopped loving He-Man, right? When we were in the theater last week and he raised his sword and said the words, like I was 6 again, and just like cheering on. And it's a brand that we're all pulling for right now, because so the box office didn't do as great, but we're all just like, please do well, because we want more of this. And I was sitting there with my teenage kids, who I raised them on Motu. I pretended it was the 80s and just raised them that way. And they were as excited to be next to me in the theater. And I have my nephew coming up in a few weeks. I'm going to take him to go see it. I've bought him a bunch of the new Origin stuff. And again, no context of the show, just giving him those toys. You can see his imagination going, right? These are cats. These guys are warriors. It's an evergreen brand that sparks creativity. And I think we're in an age now where screens are making our kids do passive play as opposed to active play. And I hope Motu, the movie, does well so that kids can just get more toys in their hand. To the point where I took a 1982 original He-Man for the day. We made a day of it when we went to see the movie. And so we went out for breakfast. We did a couple toy hunts. I brought He-Man and I documented it with me everywhere I went. And then in the theater, at the gumball machines in the theater, I put He-Man up on there with a note. And the note said, I've been hanging out with a buddy for 40 years. We've been on many adventures, but it's time for me to go to a new home, meet a new kid, and go on new adventures. So if you find me, take me home, play with me. Let's go on some adventures together. And we just left them in the theater.
That's awesome.
I want kids to love this as much as I do because it's so fun. 16 of us went to see the movie, and some of us went in with all the nostalgia in the world for it, and some of us went in blind. Like my wife's boss, who's a great friend of her, had no idea what He-Man was, except for the fact that, like, oh, Adam's got a room full of those toys, but I don't have any context for it. And so she didn't get any of the like inside jokes or the references or like the winking at the camera that happened. And she thought it was she's like, this is a great fun romp of a movie, right? This is great. I just got a text from a guy I work with, and again, I think he just turned 30, and he said, just watched He-Man, 10 out of 10, a friggin' blast. And he has no context or nostalgia for it, right? So it's just, if you go in, it's a fun property that, you know, in 82 blew our minds and can blow our minds again if we stop being cynical and look for things to complain about. So that's a little bit of my history and a little bit of a rant. Sorry if I went off script there.
No. Sean, actually, do you want to share any of your nostalgia connections as well?
Yeah. Like I'll make it quick. This is actually the only original like Motu figure I have left. It's the original He-Man with the power sword. Had this since I was a child. And you know, used to have a ton of Motu stuff as a kid. You become a teenager, that stuff just disappears to time and foolishness. And so now I find myself like, you know, collecting the Origins line, and you know, especially when they added Sunman. Because Sunman, for those that don't know, Sunman was like there's a toy company, Olmec Toys, and basically they wanted to provide action figures for Black kids because they wanted to be able to see themselves, right?
Yep.
So they came up with Sunman, who was literally the Black He-Man alternative, and there were I think like a set of like 9 to 12 figures altogether, but they only were able to produce I think like 3 or 4. And so, you know, decades pass, He-Man gets the Origins relaunch, you know, years ago, and Sunman is about to hit up on an anniversary, and they're like, hey, why don't we fold Sunman into the brand? And so they got with Yala Eason, who owns Olmec, and they made all the figures.
Yeah.
And so that really pulled me back into Masters of the Universe because I hadn't watched it in forever. So that pulled me back in. So now I watch the old cartoon from time to time and get a kick out of it, you know, because, you know, like it's not it's not supposed to be complicated. You know, this is 80s television. It's simplistic, you know, simple storytelling with a lesson at the end.
Yeah.
And but like it has heart to it though. You know what I mean? Like it has like legitimate heart to it. And it's the same with the 87 movie. As a kid, it was a thing of like, I'm not saying that it was bad. I'm not saying it was good. But like, being like 11 or 12 years old, like the only thing I could do was like, well, they got that right. Oh, hey, that final fight was really cool.
Yeah.
You know, Frank Langella, you know, was a really cool Skeletor. He ate the scenery every single chance he got. That made that fun for me, you know. But like, and I understand why that movie is the way it is, due to financial reasons. And because Canon was expecting to have like a buttload of money from like 5 or 6 other movies they put out, and all those movies tanked. So they didn't have that extra money. And Mattel's like, well, we've already put up so much. You know, y'all promised y'all would put in more. And it was like, we can't do that. So and so like that's why you have that beautiful Castle Grayskull set piece. Yeah, that's when they had Mattel's money.
Right.
That's it. That's like the only like pure set piece in the entire film. So that's why, hey, make the skiff, put them on Earth, and it keeps the budget. That keeps the budget down. We have some special effects, blah blah blah. Anyway, like, but there's still pieces of it I enjoy though.
Oh yeah.
And so, and then you get older, you get the New Adventures of He-Man in the late 80s, early 90s. Which is cool. Like, I actually have a newfound appreciation for it. When it first came out, like, the animation style was so different, and I was just like, I don't know if this is for me. But then, like, probably about 10 years ago, I watched it. I was like, this is actually pretty good. And then all the other relaunches, like the 2000 X animated series, which is my personal favorite. Which is my personal favorite. And it's funny that you mentioned this. Did you mention, Adam, you talked about how Mattel didn't understand that retailers said we need more He-Man and Skeletor figures.
Right.
Well, it was the opposite
for
the 2000 X line, because Mattel was like, we need to make this like Batman,
right,
and make as many He-Man figures as possible and as many Skeletor figures as possible. And everybody was like, we didn't ask for that.
Yeah, we just want He-Man and Skeletor. We don't need laser jump He-Man.
Right. You don't need like, car repair He-Man and all this other type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, you keep it simple. And like, but yeah, like, so then you had that, and like, it's like I said, it's never left me. Like, I saw the new movie yesterday, as a matter of fact, and I had a heck of a time with it. I thought it was a lot of fun. Like, I know the thing about the box office not being the greatest, but it's in this weird place where Amazon doesn't normally put movies out in the movie theaters. So what does that mean?
Yeah.
I
saw one report that said anything from the box office is just bonus to what Amazon's like structure looks like.
Yeah. So like, it's weird, because my whole thing is this. I don't think you get that. I'm not going to spoil it, but that extra credit scene that you get, the first extra credit scene, I don't think you get that if Amazon/MGM was like, I don't know if this is going to work, y'all. Maybe we shouldn't do this. Maybe we shouldn't tease this. But like, their business structure is so weird that like, who knows? I had a good time.
I've heard that Amazon are actually pleased with the results so far, because obviously they generally do streaming. And I've heard that the Blu-ray pre-orders on Amazon are exceptionally high. So with all of that combined, and Mattel said they're quite pleased as well with what their results in merchandising. So I'll talk a little bit about mine, and then I'll show off a couple bits. Oh, here she is. Jasmine is also in the viewer seat. Right. So as you showed yours, here is my original He-Man. And here is his alter ego with his dodgy legs. But also here he is, the man you just mentioned, Orko. And what I love about the 1987 version is, because obviously they didn't have the budget, they replaced him with Gwildor, the creator of the Cosmic Key. But and you were talking about all these characters that we don't need. So I thought I would show the pop version as well as the original. This is like a random character. I don't even know. I can't even remember this character.
Well, no, but the suction cups, though. It's an action figure with suction cups, because one thing Mattel had left over back in the 80s were a lot of suction cups, because they had an action figure called Sucker Man.
Is that what it was?
Late 70s, early 80s, called Sucker Man. I'm not lying. Seriously.
Battle Damage Skeletor, and I've got his little thing. And this is all from the 80s. Like, I get all this. Look, and do you want to see Tila?
There she is.
She's not in a good way. The cartoon that you mentioned, Shawn, that you liked. This is the comic book line that they based it off of. Also, based off of that. And I've got a few of these. I want to show this off. But yesterday I went to pick up the first issue of a comic book adaptation linked to the movie that's just come out.
Excellent.
So I'll show you one more thing and then I'll stop. I've got a Battle Cat as well, a re-release. Obviously, I do not have the original Battle Cat.
Origin stuff is so fun to keep in package. Like it's so nostalgic looking.
Yeah, no, I don't want to take it out. So, oh, actually, I will show one more thing. I've got the silly version of He-Man.
Hey, I like that one too. You know, like I said, because if we kept it the same for for 40 something years, I think we will all get bored with it. And so I like seeing different artistic interpretations of these characters. I think that's a good thing. Because I think it leads to more creativity and more inspiration. You know, that's how you go from Ram Man in like the old school cartoon to Ram Ma'am for that Netflix series. And I think that's great. Like, I think it's absolutely great. And they made that character work. So yeah, it's good stuff.
So we got like, I remember watching that cartoon as a child. I remember my dad taking me and my brother Neil to the cinema to watch the 87 version, and my wife still winds me up even like now, saying she's never met a family so obsessed with the Masters of the Universe 1987 live action film. She said, like, my brother's told story. My brother did professional broadcasting degree at university and college, and whereon would be talking about serious movies like The Godfather and all that. he would deliberately keep bringing up Masters of the Universe, and in the end, some guy lost it with him in the classroom, saying, "Will you stop talking about Dolph Lundgren as He-Man? It has no connection to The Godfather." Like, he would keep trying to link things back to the 1987 version of the film, to Masters of the Universe, and in this guy in the end just like actually blew up, and my brother came back so pleased with himself. He's like, it's brilliant that the guy lost it. Like,
I love that.
But like we would like as we were older in our early 20s, like, you know, like you have friends around, you're having beers, you're having drinks. As the night's winding down, most people might put like a football game on or a boxing match. Me and my brother would put the 1987 film on. We'd end most like nights of drink with the live action Dolph Lundgren film. So that film was like carried me for so long. To come to this episode where we're here today, like, I've been waiting for like almost 4 years for this film. I think about it, and I'm so pleased that we're here. So I'm just going to quickly run through the titles. Okay, so it's directed by Travis Knight. Screenplay was by many people: Chris Butler, Adam Nee, David Callahan. Story is by all of those people as well. It's based off the characters Master of the Universe from Mattel. It's produced by Todd Black, Jason Blum, I don't know how you say that name, Robbie Brenner. It stars Nicholas Gauzine, Camilla Mendez, Alison Brie, James Purfoy, Marina Baccarin, Kirsten Wiig, which I was quite pleased that she's the voice of Roberto.
Yeah.
Jared Leto as Skeletor, Idris Elba. Release date was the 18th of May. Sorry. The running time's 140 minutes. Like you said, though, budget it's somewhere between 170 to 200 million. And it is a Amazon MGM Studios production. And this actually got greenlit because of the success of Barbie. So,
yeah.
Well, okay, look, we've obviously done a lot of talking, and Devon's been very kind and very patient to sit here and listen to three old guys talk about the 80s. So, look, Devon coming in from the other angle. So actually, what I'd love to hear is Devon's take on the franchise and also your first experience with Master of the Universe.
Yes, of course. So my dad grew up loving Masters of the Universe, right? So like that's his big era, and like that Thundercats, like I love Thundercats because of my dad. Like that's what I fell in love with. I'm hoping that this movie does so well that we don't just get spin-offs of Masters of the Universe, but hopefully later on down the line, Super 7, I believe that's the company that does Thundercats, like the toy line. I want a movie. I would love a Thundercats movie. That's what I want. I want them to realize, hey, there's a space for this, right? Growing up, I used to do active play, right, with toys and things like that. You know, Warriors of Virtue. If you guys know Warriors of Virtue, those are my toys. Like I played with those. I still have all the original kangaroos from
the kangaroo martial artists.
I absolutely love them. As bad as that movie is, I love that movie.
Yo, that's a crate dig right there. That is a crate dig.
Yes,
Because
and
that
it's
was
like a
the
fever
year
dream.
Oh yeah, it's the same year Power Rangers movie came out.
Yeah.
Yep.
I also love that the sequel to Warriors of Virtue, they just weren't kangaroos anymore, and it was never explained. They're just people.
Yes, and like when I bring that movie up to people, people are like, "What are you talking about? Gigantic kangaroos? What?" And I'm like, "Fever dream." Like I'm the one that saw it, and I'm the one that's supposed to be speaking gospel for this movie at this point. I went into this movie obviously not knowing anything. You know, I mean, I know a little bit about He-Man. You know, my dad has told me. I think I watched a little bit of the newer Netflix series of She-Ra. I absolutely adore this movie. I had so much fun watching this movie. I was the only one in the theater, and I found myself laughing so loud that I was like, "Oh, maybe I should be quiet." And I'm like, "Wait, I'm the only one in here. Why?" You know, everything that happened from beginning to end, it felt. I'm a big gamer, so when I watched the Predator movie, the newest one that came out, you know, that was so video game-esque. I felt that with this, right? I was waiting for the title screen to come up, right? When he goes through the portal and he ends up on Earth, I was waiting for Masters of the Universe to pop up because I was like, that's where it should be. That's where it should pop up. I thought the acting, the characters, the story that they were telling was so amazing. Jared Leto did his thing. You know, I know Jared Leto has had such a rough, kind of tumultuous career with movies, Morbius, you know, the Joker, but like he crushed it in this, right? He did. I found myself laughing at Skeletor more often than not. He was just so good. He's the villain. You know what I'm saying? He's not supposed to have any ulterior motive. He is the villain. He is doing this because he is the bad guy. You know, there's multiple messages through the movie. And I'm sure we'll talk about that more, but I thought the casting was done so well for this movie. I mean, they did such a good job from the little boy that is playing Adam to when he's grown up. They like that casting right there is so perfect and makes you feel like in this short time you're growing up with him, right? He's a little boy. He looks the same as an adult, right? He doesn't know. He barely knows how to drive. You can see that, you know, he doesn't come from a world where they have cars. He doesn't know how to drive. And they just did such a good job. I want more of these movies, and I hope it does so well that they're like, okay, we're going to keep going. Like we have to keep going. So yeah, I enjoyed it so much.
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it too. Like when I saw it last night, like I think like at the last minute, like just like a slew of people came in, like a couple different families, and like you know groups of friends. And normally, like if you go to the movies nowadays, like it's a rarity. Like if you see something funny on screen, like people won't laugh. You know, they act as if it's not, you know, that it's, you know, it's uncouth if you laugh.
Right.
Man, like you, Devaughn, like folks is just flat out dying.
Mm-hmm.
You know. And so, yeah, like it was just a really fun experience. It was fun. It was fun. Like I never thought He-Man would be the movie to tackle masculinity issues.
100%. 100%. I think when you look at what Mattel is doing with these movies in conjunction with the studios, I mean, look at the Barbie movie, right? She's having, you know, she's having everything that people deal with, right? Everyday emotions, things like that. Same with Adam, you know, he's, I mean, I'll just say it here, like the scene where he's talking to his dad, like, I want to say it to you one last time. Like, I want you to hear it coming from me. And he doesn't say it, but we all know what he wants to say. He wants to tell his dad, I love you. Like, I love you. Like, you know, and to have his dad look at him and be like, what do you mean I wanted you to be a certain way? I wanted you to be you. I wanted you to be happy, but I wanted you to be able to protect yourself from the world. And I think that's, I'm not a parent, but I think that's what every parent wants for their kid. Like, I want you to be strong for the world. And these messages are so strong in these movies, but also having such a good time with them, right? Like, you get people in with the funny and the good times, and then you hit them with the gut punch, and you're like, whoa, I'm learning something from this movie. This is crazy. And they did such a good job. They knocked it out of the park with it.
It's interesting you say you want to have a Thundercats movie. When they stepped off the ship and then Princess of the Universe was playing by Queen, in my mind I was like, if they don't have a similar shot with Thundercats and then ACG Thunderstruck hits, then they've really missed an opportunity to have
missing it. Absolutely. Oh man, Thundercats would be so good. I dream.
I think I was having this conversation with someone. For Thundercats to work, it would have to be in a similar style of the Avatar movies, and not like Cats.
No, man, just go. Here's the thing. I think the question you just asked yourself, for Thundercats to work, it would need to be. I think that's the wrong attitude. For Thundercats to work, just do Thundercats. Like it worked. We'll go watch it. Like I think in you know, if this movie, if Masters of the Universe would have come out in 2000, it would have said, for Masters of the Universe to work, we can't have blue people and bright colors. We need to have like black leather. It's got to look cool. It's got to be sleek. Right. But I think if you take away for it to work and just say, tell us the story we want to see. Yeah. We all loved it because it was colorful and fun and a great movie. And I'll say, like, Travis McKnight, like, he made exactly the movie he wanted to make.
Oh, yeah, he's a huge fan.
He's a huge fan, and he's also like a billionaire. Like, he doesn't need this to succeed. He could just make the movie he wants to make. And so it's like he's just going to keep doing his thing. And I think there was a freedom in that to just make a Filmation cartoon into a live action movie unapologetically, right?
Because his Bumblebee movie was amazing. I absolutely loved it. It was probably one of my favorite Transformers movies.
The first 10 minutes of Bumblebee is the greatest piece of Transformers art ever. Like, it's that live action Cybertron piece. It's so good.
Yes.
Okay, Adam, so how many times have you seen it? The once or more than once?
I've seen it once, but the plan is to go back. It's been a busy week as school's ending and I'm in youth ministry. There's lots of things going on. But definitely next Tuesday, we're going back and seeing it again. I just had the most fun. And again, going in, loving the 87 movies one. So you can see my top shelf there is I have every single vintage Masters of the Universe toy. They're all there.
I can see Castle Grayskull at the end.
So that one's actually, I have a green one over here.
Yeah.
And over here is a custom 87 movie Grayskull where I did black and gold.
Wow.
Okay.
And so there's actually a video on my YouTube channel where I made like the prison for the sorceress, and I made like the whipping post for He-Man. And I'll show you here. Because I have all the figures and I still want to keep collecting, I've got into making customs, but in the style of vintage, so it has to blend in. So I made a custom vintage 87 movie He-Man.
Wow.
Oh wow.
Nice.
That's awesome.
You kind of go up there. So that's where he's at. But yeah, my only thing was like, if Dolph isn't in this movie, I'm gonna riot. They need to have Dolph in here. When I saw that he wasn't cast as Randor, I was like, well, what are they doing? And I was like, but his cameo was maybe the best cameo I've ever seen in my life. Like, it was just
so well done.
It was so tongue in cheek, but also earnest. I was like, this is great. It almost felt like you're watching the two actors having a conversation backstage. You're like, what do I do?
Yeah.
Right?
I love the line where he's like, "What advice can you give for a newbie?" And it was as if he was actually asking like He-Man to He-Man rather than two guys in the gym. And then when Dolph Lundgren starts to turn around and walk away, and he looks back and he says, "Good journey, kid," or whatever, and like does the two fingers. I was like, yes! I was like, he said the line!
You were the first person I thought of when he did it.
Like, actually said the line.
There was 5 of us of the 60, and there was just 5 of us sitting in a row. And as he turned around, we all said in unison with Dolph Lundgren, we're all like, "Good journey." And people were like looking at us like, "Do you know something we don't know? What's going on right now?" I was like,
That's awesome.
You know, when I watched this, I felt like I could tell Travis was a fan. He pulled from the 87 version. They had I've forgotten the character's name. You know, when in 1987, Skeletor sends a team first, and the really rotten.
Oh, you're talking about Karg.
Yeah, Karg. Yeah, Karg's in this film. Like, he's a background character in this film. You see him looking a little bit uglier, but he's in the film, which I think they don't ever address him. But he's in this movie. When I saw Karg was in this, I was like, brilliant. I was like, so he's got Dolph Lundgren, he's got Karg, and then towards the latter half of this version, when you see Skeletor across the sky, like broadcast into the citizens of Eternia, it's like you pulled that from the 87 version as well, which is cool. Yeah. And When also He-Man's sword gets broken and then he starts to the powers within himself. I thought that's taken from the Netflix show that came out in the early 2000s. Early 2020s, and I just thought he's pulled so much from different He-Man properties, and also I've forgotten the character, the girl who was part of the squad at the end who goes to fight Dina. It's Dina, isn't it? She's from a cartoon strip that was made in the 80s, and so that's actually that actress's first ever acting appearance. She's a stunt double, so that's all she's ever done is stunt double.
She was Lady Pool, right?
Yeah, she was. Yeah. So I looked up her character and I saw that Travis had actually pulled her from a cartoon strip in the 80s. So I don't think she's been in anything else.
Wow.
So I thought the detail that Travis has gone through the franchise. I only sort of pulled these things after having watched it. So I've watched it twice. The first time I went in and kind of just absorbed it all, and the second time viewing it, I felt like I was really embracing it. And I sort of the first time I watched it, I was kind of taken back by his version of Skeletor. Considering obviously the movie version, the previous version was a lot darker, etc. But then my much more appreciation in this second one, that what he's done is he's pulled the 80s cartoon Skeletor into this live action film. He's given us a movie much more based on the properties from the 80s, not the film, the cartoon and the toy line. And his cackling and his whole characterization is purely pulled from that cartoon. And I just loved it. And Jared Leto has had a lot of stick over the years, but this is his best performance. Genuinely, I believe this is the best thing I've ever seen Jared Leto do. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that we don't see Jared Leto. It is Skeletor. He puts across a good Skeletor. I'll tell you what, a little fun fact here for you guys. About a year ago, my wife was working in Beaconsfield, which you guys won't know, but it's just outside of London. They film lots of things there. It's a nice little English town. And she worked for a company, and she was on the first or second floor. And for about 2 or 3 months, she regularly saw Jared Leto and Nicholas pull up with a film crew in an alleyway and go into a restaurant. And she would try and take me photos, like zoomed in. Or Jared Leto just walked in clear as day, like nothing hidden. But Nicholas had like a hood over and like was trying to hide his face. And she kept going, what? And I could never work out why Jared Leto and He-Man, the characters would be filming a restaurant scene. And she kept saying it, and I said, I just don't get it. Like, they're making a Master of the Universe film. Like, I don't get why Skeletor would be in a restaurant. Like, but obviously now, having seen it, there's that weird, crazy dream sequence at the end,
right,
which is pulled from a restaurant in Beaconsfield, which is like an hour drive from me. It's so weird like that. Now I find that question that's been hanging over me for like a year, I've now finally answered. So
there was a beat when he's HR Skeletor and he's talking to He-Man, and he stops his speech and just looks around. He's like, "What is this place?" and he's almost like, "I'm from an absurd place. Like, attorney is nuts. HR is crazier. Like, it's this out of the world thinking." And I think you're exactly right that they nailed it, because Skeletor is 100% a menacing demonic threat. He's also 100% an incompetent buffoon. Like, he's both those things full speed ahead. And Jared Leto does those. Like, when he'll touch Evelyn and like it's just his hand on her burns her, and like his poison. But he can't land a joke, and he can't end a speech properly without it. Like, his timing's off, and those are moments you're like, yeah, he is not great. It's so good.
Something I think that like this new film does is, and new film does well, is that like you get so caught up in the movie that you forget, like, certain characters, that appeared in the beginning of the movie, like Cringer. Cringer's a perfect example. Cringer's in the beginning of the movie as a little cub, essentially. And you don't see Cringer until the final act, essentially, until the final act. And the thing is that, like, I wasn't mad that Cringer wasn't around for like 2/3 of the film. Cringer fit in when it was needed. When they did that little thing with Orko, I completely I'm watching the movie. I completely forgot about Orko. Completely.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Completely forgot about Orko. And then he shows up at the end, at the end of the movie with the lesson of the day. And I'm like, that's great. I was like,
Because they used to end every 80s cartoon with a lesson, like, and this is what we've learned today. There was one scene, I think, where in one of the cartoons where oh crap, I've forgotten her name, but the mum, He-Man's mum, turns around because Earth was in danger in one episode. I remember it going, kids, just so you know, in today's episode, Earth was never really in danger. I was like, even as a kid, I thought, I didn't need to be told this, but thank you. But yeah, sorry, go on, Adam. Yeah.
The child who played young Adam, is the son of the voice actor who did Cringer.
Oh, okay, that's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, so when young Adam's talking to Cringer, he's just talking to his dad, and I was like, that's kind of awesome. Fun, right?
Yeah, that is cool. Yeah.
That's the best way to play Masters of the Universe with your kids.
When I'm very big on like music, right? And I think soundtracks make movies like like not just better, but 1,000 times better. And I think every single beat and soundtrack of this movie was great, right? It almost felt like a Guardians of the Galaxy, right? Like how James Gunn
100%.
like puts the soundtrack around the movie. I feel that same way about Supergirl when Supergirl's going to come out, like just seeing the trailers and stuff. I thought the music and the way it hits and like those high moments, those low moments, I thought like with that soundtrack, it was absolutely amazing. I will say when Skeletor was going through like the dream sequence, it kind of took me out of the movie just a little bit because I was like, I don't know what's happening right now. It's funny, but I don't like the first one when he's lifting weights. I was like, okay, I understand, I get it. And then HR, I was like, okay, he looks great dressed up like this, but it almost took me out of it. I definitely understand why it had to happen. These are all places where Adam felt a little inadequate, which is crazy to me, right? I mean, he's huge. He's huge, right? He's huge, and he's asking. He's in the gym. And he's like, I don't really know what to do, And I'm like, you're so muscular. This is crazy, right? This is insane. But like, when he was a little kid, he's taking that trauma as a little kid, as an adult, and it's just it was great. The Dolph Lundgren, like as soon as I saw him, I said, "Oh, this is great. This is perfect." Like I having like just knowing that he was in the 1987 film and just having him there, I was like, great cameo. That's how you do a cameo. This is perfect. This is like, I love cameos in movies, and sometimes they take you out of the movie. This one felt like it was just perfect. He didn't overstay his welcome. He did the thing. He said the thing. Done. Gave it to the the fans, that diehard fans, and you just eat it up, and you're like, okay, let's go throughout the whole movie. I thought he was going to show up again when they did the dream sequence. I thought
in the dream sequence he would have showed up dressed as He-Man from the 87 movie, and Skeletor was going to say, like, this is what you thought you could be. You thought you could step up and be a hero like this, but you can't. Like, I was going to use it against them, but
I did think Dolph Lundgren might show up again at some point. Like, I had this weird thought that how cool. Like, I had this weird thought. Whilst I also thought if they do it, it might ruin it. How cool would it be if it was like an alternate He-Man, like the 87 version actually was canon to this one? And I thought this probably would ruin it, but I still would like it because I'm a He-Man fan. Yeah. But to the general audience, that would be too far. But I was sort of even torn with myself. But yeah.
Well, I thought he could have been King Grayskull, like in a flashback, at the beginning when they're talking about the history of Grayskull and the previous champions. That he could have been the first King Grayskull. And pass the sword down, but either way, I thought it was great. I really think that in the next movie, which I'm hoping there's going to be, Scareglow will be played by Frank Langella.
Okay.
Right.
That would be cool. That would be cool. Yeah, like like to this day, Frank Langella will always praise his time at the Masters of the Universe movie, because like when he would get interviewed, they'd be like, the interviewees would be like, hey, why did you do that? Like, that movie's terrible and all this other stuff. He's like, no. He's like, my son loved that movie. He's like, I got the chance to literally do whatever I wanted and be as expressive and emote as much, as much as I possibly wanted to. And so like he got into it. He was hoping for a sequel. And so, but it was one of those things like the movie didn't make enough money and Canon didn't have any money and they were almost on the outs. So like if they were going to have a sequel, it was still going to be Earth ridden.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be on Earth, and Prince Adam would have like memory loss, so he didn't know who he was, and he would just be on Earth just trying to figure things out, and then maybe for 10 minutes you get Eternia.
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, like I said, we got what we got, and I'm good with that for the 87 movie. But no, this one was definitely worth the wait, because what a lot of people don't know is that, the rights, the rights for the intellectual property of Masters of the Universe, has went through a bunch of studios over like the last 30 years. Like, Warner Brothers had it for a long time. And then I think like Sony may have had it for a minute. And then Amazon got it, or MGM/Amazon got it. And so, so it's like, because a lot of folks been waiting for a live action He-Man movie for a very long time. But
I think Netflix had the rights at one point, didn't they?
Yeah, Netflix had the rights for a bit too.
Yep. So it's went through a bunch of studios. So so that's all. I was kind of surprised that MGM/Amazon picked it up, but supposedly they're doing a Voltron movie too.
Yeah.
Sterling K. Brown is supposed to be in that one too, I believe.
Yeah, which completely threw me off guard, because I was listening to an interview and somebody mentioned Voltron. He was like, "How'd you know I was in this?" Because it hasn't been talked about.
Correct.
Yeah. And so and he's excited for everybody to see it. So, like I said, like I've always been this type of person where it's like nostalgia's cool to a point, and then sometimes I think we can overconsume on nostalgia. So like I'm kind of glad that like it took almost 40 years to get another He-Man movie in a lot of ways. In my personal opinion, like I said, like, and I know that may sound silly because like, hey, like James Bond's been around for 50. Yeah, like how many different versions of Bond have I watched since I was a child?
Yeah.
But for Masters of the Universe, it just hits different.
And it's funny, like I'm full of a room full of nostalgia, but I don't do nostalgia for nostalgia's sake, right? And so my collection is all vintage stuff. I really think that as cool as the remakes of our old toys are, I'd like to see them doing new things for new kids, like be creative and do something new that's in the vein of it. So again, I buy old stuff and I let the new stuff kind of sit there. I was so chuffed for like the Motu stuff coming out, and just it's fun to see it in stores again. But you guys in the States got this incredible drink holder power sword of the theater, like the popcorn bucket. I was so jazzed for that. I was like, I'm going to do it. Like I'm going to go in and I'm going to buy the expensive movie theater nonsense. I'm going to do it because it's so cool. We never got it in Canada. We got a lenticular popcorn bucket, and that was it. And so I was so bereft. I was like, I was so like, I wanted it so bad that I designed and 3D printed my own sword.
Nice.
Brilliant.
Okay.
I couldn't do that one, so I had to get it done.
Perfect.
Because I was like, I need to have that. I was so excited about it.
Yes.
It's not nostalgia for nostalgia's sake. I think this movie earned its nostalgia dip, right? Like it's not just cashing it in like like some of them the Marvel movies do, and just this stuff that's kind of forced upon us. This really feels like, again, because the box office isn't great, but the people who love it so much. Like I feel like it was specifically just for us, right?
I think sometimes society, and a lot of this is due to the internet. Society is so focused on you have to be number one, you have to make all the monies, you have to have all the things that like a lot of times people don't talk about the enjoyment.
Right.
You know what I mean? So because like if I talk to if I'm out and about just talking to people, and they may say I might say, hey, have you seen movie XYZ? And if they say, well, how did it do at the box office? Right. No. We're not talking about. I'm just asking you, have you seen the movie? Now, if you haven't, and then you say, well, what did it do at the box office? And if that is going to curtail whether you say yes or no, then we still have a problem.
Yeah, I know someone that will, before they watch something, will look up the IMDb rating before they'll decide to watch it, and they'll gauge, because they're like, oh, times are precious. Basically, if it's got to be a 4 up for me to consider watching it, I'm like, there are so many films that are decent films below that, because and I've watched many films. But actually, Shawn, you said something up that I wanted to go around the room on. It's a 2.5 hour film almost, but I'd love to know kind of what, before we start doing this, is there a favorite character from everybody in the movie, and also what is a standout moment in this film for all of you? So I'll just go around the room. Adam, what about yourself? Is there a standout moment and a character you want to highlight?
So it's funny when you talk about Motu with guys, and again, the character selection in the old vintage line is so deep and crazy, and there's cowboys and there's knights and there's all kinds of things. If He-Man's not right, the whole thing falls apart, right? So I think that Evelyn did I think Alice Reed did an incredible job as Evelyn. Jared Leto killed it as Skeletor. Man at Arms, it's Idris Elba. That guy just shows up and wins an Oscar everywhere he goes, right? He does a great job. But to me, He-Man working needed to happen, and I think that he had the perfect amount of innocence and charm and naivety. He was the most powerful man in the universe, but also was a sympathetic character. And so I think that we can gloss over just how great our He-Man was. And so to me, he was the standout performance. He did a lot of the heavy lifting and allowed others to shine because it was so great. But to me, a standout moment in the movie, this is going to sound stupid because it's such a nothing moment. But there's a line in the toy store when he's running out, he's making a buffoon of himself, trying to steal the sword, and the girl says, Are you single?
Single?
She just, in that moment, she's like, are you single? And I was like, that was the most human moment of the movie for me, where I was like, it was just so real. And I was like, that to me, I don't know who that girl actress was, but give her an award, because I thought that was that line stuck.
Yeah, I know. Do you know what? The first time I missed it, but when I saw it the second time and I caught it, I actually burst out laughing in the cinema. It was all the chaos in the toy store. He's knocked the statue off. He's broken the arm. He stood up and said the line's wrong, and then he panics and there's a whole crowd around him. And then they caught it on the second time, and she's like, "Are you single?" And then he bumbles his way across the front of the car. He's so uncool in the beginning. He's just a chaotic mess. So yeah. But okay, Devaughn, standout moment and any characters that stand out for you in this as well.
I think so. First of all, the runtime, it did not feel that long, right? It was very quick. They paced it out very well. I think the whole beginning for me is a standout, right? Being as someone that has no ties to this, they set it up so well, right? He's telling this story, right? And at the end of it, he's on a hinge date, right? He's on a date with the girl, and he's telling his whole life story. And you can see her kind of wait a minute, what? She's taking it in. And, she's gorgeous, she's beautiful. And he's just sitting there, and he's so pure to what he knows and keeping that alive to himself, right? He's obviously talked about this with everyone. He works for an HR, department, and they're looking at him why are you looking at swords? You're crazy. And then to finally get that full circle moment in the toy store where he gets what he needs and everything comes full circle, and you see him at the edge of the ship, and he's like, I told all of you. Well, not you guys specifically, but I told people in my life that this was real, right? It was so perfect. I love that whole beginning, which could have been, I don't know, maybe it felt like 45 minutes to an hour, but it could have been very well. That whole beginning sequence was great. Standout character, I feel like Skeletor just crushed it, right? He just I know Skeletor obviously from my dad, but I know him from the memes, right? The running away laughing meme. That's the Skeletor I know. And I feel like he was so represented so well here with laughing, and it almost felt like those Dr. Evil moments from Austin Powers, right? He's laughing and like Evil Lynn is like, come on, people, laugh with him, or else we're gonna be toast if we don't go along with it. I think he ate up every scene that he was in. It was so perfect.
Yeah, amazing. And Shawn, what about you?
All right, favorite moment. It's right near the end of the movie where the good guys have won, and so the whole group sans Adam and Cringer. Adam and Cringer are on the side looking over a bridge, but like Man at Arms and everybody else in a circle, and they're talking and they start laughing, and they laugh and move their bodies back just like the Filmation cartoon.
That's so good.
Yeah.
And like when I caught that, I fell out. I was like, okay. I was like, you got me. You got me.
It was perfect.
I thought it was hilarious. I thought that's like one of my favorite moments in the movie. Like I enjoyed the movie overall. I had a wonderful time with it. My favorite as far as like character, it's the relationship between Tila and her father, Duncan, aka Man at Arms. Because the thing is that this movie really has like 3 or 4 storylines in it.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's able to open and close all those storylines, in about 2.5 hours, it's not bad. It's not bad. But like the relationship and the problems that Tila and Man at Arms had. Tila, wanted her father back. Man at Arms is somebody that like lost his way. And like he's trying to get that back, and so like I liked the redemption arc for Man at Arms, and and Tila got her dad back in a lot of ways. So
because he obviously got shot by a trapdoor quite early on, and it knocked his confidence in him. So go on, Adam.
I was gonna say, just speaking of the 87 references you made earlier, I forgot to mention. Did you catch that Pig Boy was in this again?
Yeah.
Yes.
So he got a walk-on role because he won a contest. They brought him back as Pig Boy again when he wakes up Skeletor.
Yeah. Like, if you drop the staff, I'm gonna
turn you into sausage like I did to your mom. So funny. I was like, oh my gosh.
Which was such a dark line.
Yeah. It was great that they brought that guy back to play the same role again.
In the beginning of the movie, during the battle, right before I think Randor is about to fight, Skeletor and all of them. If you like, it's real fast because like they have the camera like looking down on that area where they're about to fight, like a promenade, if you will. And like if you look, you can see, and unless my mind was playing tricks on me, you can see an etching of Merman's face.
Yep.
On the floor.
Well, Merman was behind Orko in the cameo.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll have to rewatch that.
Yeah, the Merman's there and Gwildor's there.
Oh, I missed Gwildor as well. Really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's in the
so they have
background.
introduced Gwildor, I think, in some comics as well, and Gwildor and Orko have met in so I looked it up and I saw some screenshots of them in a comic book together. Like, so I thought that was cool.
And in the Kevin Smith show, they met.
Oh no, I haven't seen that.
No.
Oh, that's the okay. For me, I want to shout out Skeletor. I have been over the years one of the biggest haters of Jared Leto. Anything he's in, I just think it's going to be terrible.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, Morbius, even the Tron movie last year.
Oh,
the Tron movie itself, I didn't mind, but him on screen, it's just terrible. And then finally, he's in a film where he was at this film. I'm not saying it because it's just Master of the Universe, but he played Skeletor so well. He did the job he was actually paid to do, and he did it well for once. Like I don't know what happened, but I don't know what. I'm not sure he learned anything previously. I don't think he took any feedback, but somehow this was the role for him. He actually embraced the character of Skeletor, and I thought he did it so well. I liked the fact that he was dark and menacing and evil, like burning people and having the staff on people and the comment about the pig, and then the real 80s sort of caricature that he was, I just thought it was brilliant. The balance. I think you handled it. You said it well, actually. In one moment, he's like a buffoon, and then the other minute, he is completely dark and menacing. And Jared Leto somehow really honed that skill. Maybe he's playing himself. I don't know. So,
all you gotta do to make Jared Leto good is cover up his face and voice.
Do you know what? It did make me think. Maybe he's looking at acting the wrong way. Maybe he needs to go into voice acting.
Right.
Well, I think honestly, that this is a movie where he played a character, and in all the other movies, he's just Jared Leto.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I do have a question, and I don't know if I misheard it in the movie, but when Adam's mom goes up to the sorcerer and says, does she say, I need you to send him to my homeworld? Does she say that?
Yeah.
So is she from Earth?
Yeah.
She's an astronaut. That's why I said Adam Glenn, because she's Marlena Glenn, who is related to John Glenn, the astronaut.
Got it.
And so she's actually been put in canon as part of Major Matt Mason's team, the Mattel astronaut guys.
Got it.
So, so her green suit in classics is the green version of Major Matt Mason's suit from the vintage toy. So it's all kind of been a Mattel universe going on there. But
that's
she's
awesome. Because I was like, maybe he was like on his way to her planet, and then when he like let go of the sword and he fell, I was like, maybe the sword went somewhere else, but I didn't know. That was awesome. Cool. Because when I heard you say that, I was like, oh.
If you read the comic book adaptation of the 87 movie, at the end, when they're back in Eternia, Man-at-Arms goes into Queen Marlena's room and brings out an American flag. And he's like, you went to your mom's homeworld.
Oh, okay. That's awesome.
I've not heard that.
And in the original Masters of the Universe series, they have a flashback moment in one of the episodes of Marlena, flying her space shuttle as it gets to another dimension, and she ends up in Eternia. Wow. So there's lots of connective tissue with the character of Marlena, and I do like the fact that like basically she's going to be running Eternia now.
Yeah.
And like I think that's really cool.
I'm gonna poll you guys. Do you think in the sequel, Moss Man will have grown back?
I hope so.
I hope so. Yeah.
He needs to get a little. He needs to get some comeuppance to Skeletor. He's got to get a lick in.
So, anyone that's watching or listening, I just do want to talk about one thing that is a spoiler, but I know that the internet has ruined it for most people. The second mid-credit scene, they show the back of She-Ra, and I was over the moon that they actually connected She-Ra, the live-action movie that's come out this year. As a kid as well, look, I don't think I watched the 80s cartoon of She-Ra, but I did watch the Christmas special, and there was another movie as well where they joined up. I did watch those. I think as a little boy I wasn't too interested in watching a girls cartoon, but I do remember watching it when I was around one of my friends' houses, and but yeah, seeing her on the screen, I was just like, this is going to be so good. They're going to bring in Hordak and She-Ra and all of She-Ra's characters. But yeah, guys, what do you think about a potential sequel? Do you think it's going to be either a She-Ra film, or do you think they would do a He-Man and She-Ra?
I feel like you'd have to do both of them together.
Yeah, I want to see a shot-for-shot remake of the cartoon, the Two Swords, right? Like, I just want to see that episode done shot for shot, right? The Secret of the Sword. Just do it.
I think that's the way you do it. You do both of them together, and then if it does well, maybe branch her off, right?
Yeah.
Do one by herself, or even like a mini series. I mean, it's Amazon, right? They could do a show, right? A She-Ra show, like live action She-Ra show, you know?
Yeah.
I want to throw something to you guys out there. I was on Twitter the other day, and I made a joke on Twitter, and this has never happened to me before. I made a single joke about this film on Twitter, and it actually went like micro viral, like over 40,000 engagements, whatever. And all I did was put two pictures of Skeletor up, the HR one and the gym one, and all I said was, we need a 30-minute sitcom of this guy. and it like literally went nuts. I got well over 1,000 likes, comments, people actually engaging with it, like people like talking about the idea of it. And then me and this other guy ended up chatting that between a first and a second film, maybe when Skeletor hasn't died, but he wakes up in HR on Earth, and now he's got to work in HR, and we get like a 1 season of Skeletor in HR. I obviously I wouldn't really want this, but I think it would be kind of amusing if they did that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't really want that, but I think it would be kind of silly. I would watch it still.
Yeah, no, I again, tongue-in-cheek stuff like that is great. And again, just the visual of Skeletor in like a suit and tie and stopping and being like, "What is this place?" Like, it's just the disdain for what's going on. It's so good.
Okay, so look, sorry, Shawn, you gonna say that?
Oh no, I was just gonna say, if when a sequel comes, and it probably will be like Devaughn said, like probably will be a He-Man and She-Ra movie, because then from that, then they could do a She-Ra movie if the He-Man She-Ra thing goes well, and then another He-Man movie later down the line. But like also the cool thing is that if we do get another movie, you're going to get more characters. You're probably going to get your Cyclones, your Zodaks. You might get Man-E-Faces. Like we got Triclops in a movie in 2026. Triclops, black Triclops at that. And which I was like, well, this is actually kind of cool, because there's an artist, he's like one of my favorite artists. He used to draw Green Lantern in the 90s, Daryl Banks.
Yep.
He drew Kyle Rayner with like the crab mask. Fantastic artist, really good dude, really good person. And he always would talk about, he was like, you can't always just take a character that's like a white dude and dip them in chocolate and say, okay, here's the new version. He was like, it doesn't always work. He was like, you have to give these characters like three-dimensional qualities and actual, soul and spirit. Now granted, like I said, Triclops is not a major character. He wasn't a major character in the cartoon. He would show from time to time, so you can do a race swap with the Triclops. I was really shocked that we got Idris Elba as Duncan, to be honest with you, because even he said in an interview, when they asked him to be part of the movie, he thought he was just going to be the voice of Skeletor.
Oh wow,
that'd be interesting too.
He thought he was going to play Skeletor. He was like, because like, you want to cover up my face and all this other stuff. And he was like, wait a minute, you want me to play Duncan?
Yeah.
And so that was a surprise to him, and it was a surprise to me too. But like I said before, he's freaking awesome in it. He's great.
Yeah. Oh, he is. Yeah.
There was nobody that didn't show up and go to work.
Yeah.
Right.
Even if you think about Camilla and Nicholas, the work that they put into being in the gym, like even Camilla, I've seen photos of her arms. She's also put the work in.
Yeah. Although I think I could get that jacked if it was my job.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. They're getting paid to go to the gym. Like, if I was paid to just be at the gym, I'm sure.
They were like, listen, Adam, you're going to be the new He-Man. Go get jacked, and we're going to pay you. I was like, let's do it, baby.
Yeah, no, I would be on that. But I've seen Nicholas being interviewed, and what I love is how there was somebody who was asking a question about, could Superman and He-Man have a fight and who would win? And he just suddenly references the comic, going, well, there is a comic where He-Man and Superman have a fight and He-Man wins. And Camilla's sitting next to him, and she goes, what? Like, shocked that he knew it. And I thought, I love the fact that he's gone and done his own research. So props to them as well. But I'll start to finish this off. I'd love to know what you guys would rate this movie out of 5. Adam, what would you do?
So I give it a 6 out of 5 because it was, in my mind, a perfect movie. But being that the experience in the theater was the best experience I've had, like the most fun I've had since I was a kid, it goes above and beyond. It becomes more than a movie in my mind. So yeah, I know it's cliche, but 6 out of 5.
Amazing. Devaughn, first time in with Master of the Universe.
Yes. I want to kind of go back and harp on what Shawn said about, people saying, like, oh, box office, and what you said about IMDb and stuff. I go to the movies to have fun. I don't go to the movies hoping that it's going to knock it out of the box office. I'm very easy to please with movies. And if there's action, great. If there's a good story, great. I have to give it a 5 out of 5. I had a blast. I had fun. I laughed. It was a good time. I really want my dad to see it because I know that he likes Masters of the, like he likes He-Man. So I want him to see that. I like that, you know, I mean, this is also goes along with spoilers. I like that they saved that name for the end. You know, he was like, "Oh, what'd you call yourself?" No, you guys are gonna laugh. And like, no, come on, just tell us. And he says it, and it's like, it's just so perfect. It's great. Yeah,
Actually, I did like how they brought his name of He-Man in.
Yeah,
that was good. Yeah. And Sean, what about yourself?
Oh yeah, I would definitely give it a 5 out of 5 for sure. I had a real good time with this. Like, I walked into this movie with zero expectations. Just zero expectations. I was like, okay, let's see their take. Let's see how this is going to work out. And it ended up giving me more than like I even asked for. You know what I mean? And like in the fact, as I said earlier in the show, this is a movie that talks about masculinity. This is a movie that talks about, trying to learn how to be honest with yourself and honest with your feelings. Besides all the punching and all the sword fighting and all the sci-fi stuff, like it really, it goes beyond surface level stuff.
Yeah.
It has its silly moments. It's supposed to, like, we can't always take this stuff seriously. But no, like it was, I enjoyed it a lot. Like I will definitely, I'll definitely cop the Blu-ray, when it comes out for sure. Like it was just a good time. So 5 out of 5.
I've pre-ordered the Blu-ray already.
Nice.
So I pre-ordered it the other day. I was like, when I heard that everyone was pre-ordering, I was like, do you know what? I'm going to pre-order it too. So, right. For myself, I watched it twice. I went in a bit like you, Sean. I'd seen some trailers, but I tried not to look up too much or read too much about it. I kind of wanted to go in blind. Yes, there is action, and there's a lot of punching and sword fighting and all that kind of and spaceships flying and people getting blown up and getting shot and not by bullets, obviously, like lasers and arm cannon guns and all that craziness, which I think is cool. By the way, we haven't talked about Lockjaw. He is a pretty damn cool villain. I love just him being on screen. He looks like someone you really wouldn't want to mess with, for one say. But the film also, I know people like, oh, it's a He-Man film, but there is deeper messages in there, like identity, vulnerability, masculinity. There is other storylines going on, like relationship building between He-Man and his father, Man-at-Arms, and Teela, and then even the message at the end where He-Man's mum and Man-at-Arms are chatting, we'll bring her home, the missing daughter and the restoration of their family and the sort of, I guess, displacement and homecoming has been a constant theme from the beginning to the end of the film. And there is other deeper messages, but it is an absolutely fantastic He-Man movie. I'm so pleased we've got it, and 5 out of 5 from me. So I loved it. I really want to watch it again, and I want to go and see it in 4DX. I think it's meant to. I don't think there's long left before the 4DX finishes, so I hope maybe try and go next week or something.
Make sure you stretch before you go, because
yes,
I've heard it's a violent ride.
Yes. I saw Twisters in 4DX.
Oh.
Had the time of my life. Me and my wife, we loved it. Like, we absolutely loved it. But like, because the thing is, what they don't tell you is that like on the 4DX chairs, you can turn up the action or turn it down. What I didn't know, like the Cinemark that we have, the 4DX, it literally has a meter, and so what I didn't know was when I sat in that chair is that meter was set to high. So when the first tornado hits, the first twister hits, like literally, I'm just spinning. And I was like, this is incredible and absolutely absurd. May I have more?
That's awesome.
I've only seen one thing in 4DX because there's nothing near me. It's like an hour drive. And that was earlier in the year. I went and saw Project Hail Mary in 4DX.
Oh, nice.
And it was really, it's honestly, the experience of seeing it in 4DX was so good. I've seen it afterwards in 4DX, and the difference between the two is mind blowing. Really, the shift in it. Yeah, so I would love to see more films in 4DX. But going like one ticket's like 25 quid. So I think I have to say that for special things like this.
Yeah.
Well, okay, we'll start to end the show, but before we go, Adam, do you want to shout out where people can find you?
Yeah, you can find me over on YouTube at Go Figure, and I just do a lot of vintage toy restorations, and I do a lot of 3D building and printing in kind of real time, and I just have a lot of fun, and people seem to have fun there too. So it's
You've got the best theme tune on YouTube.
Well, I appreciate that.
And Shawn, what about yourself?
Okay, you can find me. I have a website, ShawnPryor.com. You can find over 60 books that I've written over like the last 17 years on that website, from graphic novels to prose books to books for kids, books about Godzilla movies. Wrote a book called Kaiju Unleashed that came out a couple years ago. It talks about the history of Godzilla and other kaiju, like Rodan and Gamera, King Kong. And a bunch of other stuff too. And I got a graphic novel coming out this fall called Fast Break. Comes out October the 6th. It's something that it's like the most heartfelt thing I've ever written, featuring artwork by artist Del Hahn. And it comes out October 6th from FSG, which is a division of Macmillan. And so it's a graphic novel for middle readers. So it's for kids and kids at heart. And so I hope folks dig it. And you can find me on Blue Sky when I get on social media. Just look for my name, Shawn. Put an R in the middle of that, Shawn R. Pryor. Instagram, The Shawn P Show. And Adam, I just followed your Go Figure page on YouTube. So, because I do be watching a lot of toy videos on YouTube.
You'll have a good time.
What I'll do actually after this episode's finished, in the description I'll put links to both your things. And but look, guys, thanks so much for joining. Me and Devaughn are actually back tomorrow night to talk about something that is very close to Devon's heart.
Yes.
It's video gaming. So we're going to be talking about Summer Games Fest. It's probably going to be a show mostly led by Devaughn.
Yeah.
I'll just sit here quietly and smile. You can also follow Geeks Unleashed everywhere. We're on all the platforms, but Instagram seems to be where people most appreciate us. You can also, if you're listening on your favorite podcast platform, please remember to like and subscribe, and the same with YouTube. Thanks to those people that have joined us as we've been live. However, if you do rewatch, please let us know in the comments what you loved about Master of the Universe, and we'll be back again tomorrow. But yeah, as I'd like to end the show just by saying, good journey.
Good journey.
Good journey.